most people probably is afternoon, evening, morning for me still. I'm gonna get set up here. We're making Danish. I've got my butter out. It is still too cold. We want it pliable, so I'm gonna let it sit for a second while we get all set up. And yeah, let me know who's here. Hi, Lisa. I know it's been so long. Hello, stranger. We're making Danish. Where is my YouTube app? There it is. I'm trying to get my iPad up. Hello, you guys. Hi, Amy. The Del Skinner. I forget. We talk a lot. What's your first name? If you want to share, you don't have to. Hi from Hungary. Why am I? Okay, live. Let's go to this. Okay, so yes, we're making Danish, and it's going to be a little bit of TV magic because it takes a really long time, right? So we are doing it in, I've done some dough. We're going to start laminating, and then I have a separate batch, I should say, at a different stage so we can kind of pick up and not have to wait. And then I have some proofing, Delphia. Del. Okay, so we can call you Del. Perfect. Your name is so familiar. I just have never said it out loud, so I'm glad. Thank you for sharing. Okay. I am going to turn my sound off, and we are ready to go. Okay, so it's different because I'm not used to, Katie's gonna be so bummed. Hopefully you can make something in a bit, Amy, huh? But I'm going to bake some. So I've got my sheeter here, but you do not need a sheeter for Danish. We can do it by hand too, and I'll show a little bit of by hand too. But I've never done, besides showcasing the sheeter before, I've never really showcased on a live laminated dough. So this is a first for me. So I'm sorry for the angles and everything that we will try to figure out. Let me try to get you guys at least straight. There we go. All right. I am going to get my dough out, and I will show you guys my proofing Danish right now. I'm proofing some as well, so we can kind of go right into that and see how we would fill the Danish and bake them before our live is over. Ooh, cinnamon rolls, yes please. I love cinnamon rolls. So, what I would like to know is how much time does the sheeter cut? That's a great question. I feel like for our sheeter, the biggest draw for the sheeter is the last folds. So typically you do 3 folds. I'm going to showcase the Danish, which I do 2 single folds and then 1 double fold, which I will explain in a little bit what that means. But towards the end, when you're doing your last laminating process, your last fold, it gets really hard to use your rolling pin. So that's when I find the sheeter cuts a lot of time because it does not retract as much. I'm not working the dough as much as a rolling pin does, so it doesn't retract and it happens a lot faster. But I haven't quantified it. But yeah, so yeah, hours. Amy has a sheeter as well. Perfect. It's definitely hours, but I just feel like the amount of time is hard to put into exact quantification, but I would definitely say like 2 hours it cuts off. So all right, let me show you guys the Danish that I'm proofing, and we'll get back to those, and then we'll start with folding in. This is getting nice and pliable. We'll fold in our butter book. So this is just Kerrygold unsalted butter. I have pounded it down to be a nice little size. If you want the recipe of the Danish, I'm just using a croissant dough recipe. You can find it on my YouTube channel. I cut it in half from what the YouTube channel talks about when it's for mastering croissants. But if you have my croissant ebook, then it is the same recipe as that. I do cut it in half in the ebook because I find it's easier to learn with a smaller amount of dough than starting with the bigger batch. So let me show you guys. So I put these out of the fridge. I shaped them yesterday, and I put them in the fridge overnight. Here's my dough we're going to start working with today. But this, they're proofing. You want them to double in size. They need a little bit more time, and then I'll showcase how to do this shaping later. But we're going to fill them with like a frangipane, which is a pastry cream, almond flour mixture. And then you can always do, like, if fruit is in season, you know, you could bake with an apricot, a plum. What else would be good with a frangipane? Like really anything. But yeah, not like strawberries. I feel like not so much, but I don't know. I'm gonna use a strawberry jam that I made because my husband doesn't love apricots. But yeah, and then also you can leave them empty, bake them like this, and then fill afterwards for a fresh Danish and fill with pastry cream and maybe like you would a fruit tart, fresh fruits of the season. Up here, we don't have any good fruit except for citrus right now. So yeah, we're limited. Yeah, a cream cheese filling would be great. Raspberries, yeah, anything you can think of. But I'm going to put these back in. Actually, I might take it out to dry a little bit because my oven, these might be ready to get filled pretty soon. So right after we do our first two folds and start of our lamination, then we will fill these bad boys and bake them off, and then I'll continue on in the steps for this. We're kind of doing whatever needs to be done at this point when we're dealing with yeasted dough. So I'll try to explain so no one gets confused in the process. Just gonna take off the saran wrap and let them dry before we egg wash and fill again. Okay, so I was getting ahead of myself because I was showing you guys the ones that we'll be baking soon. But this is just our croissant dough. There are a lot of Danish recipes for the dough that is different from croissant. They're more enriched. They've got yolk or whole eggs, a lot of just milk, not the water, which if you've seen my video, I use half water, half whole milk. They'll have more sugar in it sometimes, but if you're doing large production and you only want to do one dough for all your laminated products in your bakery or whatever, why not just, I mean, croissant dough is just as flaky and delicious and really not worth, in my opinion, making two different doughs for your production. So up to you. There are other recipes, but this is simply my croissant dough recipe. This is still a little stiff on the edges. I'm going to start, basically what you want is pliable butter and really cold dough. So I made this last night and it's ready to now work with. If you have hot or warm dough, your butter will also warm up and it will start to, like, with all the friction of rolling out, it will start to meld into your dough and you won't have that distinct butter layers, and so it's going to end up just rubbing into your dough and being just a buttery rich bread instead of the flakiness that you want from a Danish or a croissant. Okay, let's see here. Ooh, cherry. Lisa, that would be so good. Sorry, I'm just seeing what other flavors. Cherry would be so good. I don't have cherries. But yeah, whatever fruits are in season, you could bake them up or use as a fresh filling at the end. All right. So I'm warming up my dough by touching it too much. I'm not gonna do that. I am gonna warm up my butter a little bit so we can speed this up. And then I'm gonna turn my oven on so we are ready to bake our Danish as well. Okay. Now, if anyone here, I had mentioned on Instagram, but I know some of you guys don't have Instagram. If anyone here was wanting to, sometimes people like super chat or whatever, I was just asking, if you saw in the description below, instead of super chatting me, that there are some links for GoFundMe pages. Personally, I know, or one of my close friends knows their whole family, so no scams. Either a GoFundMe or an organization that's helping with fire relief for the California fires. So if it's like you wanted to do that, I just ask that you not send it on here and maybe put that towards fire relief instead. Okay, so let's get started on this. Because my butter is still a little cold, what you're looking for is you want it to feel nice and chilled, but you want it to not feel like when you put pressure on it, it's gonna snap instead of bend. So I'm trying to warm up my corners, because I feel like that's where it stays the coldest, is on the edges. Does the type of salt matter in your recipe? I use kosher salt, Del. Iodized, is that how you say it? Iodized? Or is there an N? Iodine? I don't know. That kind of salt, you know what I'm talking about. That is saltier. So you might want to decrease the amount of that if you're using that kind. But I use kosher. We're still warm. This is the problem with doing some type of dough, like especially laminated dough. It's very time sensitive. Like, I can't just do what I want to do. I gotta wait for my dough and my butter to be ready. And that's the biggest thing you need to know when you are doing a laminated pastry of any sort, is that you need to be patient. And if your dough's retracting or anything like that, you need to let it rest. If your butter is too cold, like you've pulled your dough straight from the fridge and you're trying to roll it out, you always want to give it at least 10 seconds to soften, even once you've done 2 folds, so your butter doesn't break within your lamination. I usually use sea salt. Perfect. I think sea salt would be great. So what we really want to do here is we want to make our dough 3 times the size of this, because we're going to enclose our butter book in the middle third of our dough. So we're gonna roll it out. We could use a sheeter, but I was gonna showcase this. It's not the best to roll out on the sheeter, but because of space and not moving the camera, I'm gonna try to navigate that a little bit. But the main thing I talk about when you're making the croissant dough in my video of mastering croissants is to not incorporate too much extra flour into your product. You don't want a dry dough, but you also don't want to overmix when you are making your dough the night before and have it be too, like, you don't want to make too much, you don't want to strengthen your gluten too much. It seems counterintuitive because you'd want it to be strong so it can like be elastic, but the more strength you do right away when you're mixing, the tougher it's going to be to do those last turns. So like if you can see here, this is very rough dough. It's not a nice smooth dough. It tears really easily. So I have to be careful. But that's gonna help in the last couple of rollouts for it to not be overworked and to fight against us as we're trying to roll out. So now that I've got it to the same size, like height as my butter book, now it's time to start rolling out this way so that it's 3 times. So we can encapsulate it, is that a word? Fold it up. So here, we'll use the sheeter for this time. And you just gotta find the right length. Let's see, 20. Nope, needs to go down. And we're just gonna bring it till it is bigger. And as you roll out this way, it will increase your width a tiny bit, right? So you just want to make sure you're kind of pushing it back in so it doesn't get way too circular. I like to just kind of manhandle the dough, make sure it's staying as a square, and let it do, the roller do its job. And if you do have a sheeter, this is for you guys too to showcase it. I really I don't put a ton of flour in, but every once in a while it's really good. The main thing is you really want, especially as you start to laminate, the dough cold. Once it starts to soften up, it will start to get stuck more and more, and it's just a nightmare. So cold dough is going to help relieve that using a tiny bit of flour, and always lifting up, making sure it's not sticking to your board. Same goes if you're using a rolling pin. Continuously as you're working it, lift it up, make sure it's not sticking, do a nice roll, right? You can still pull those corners down to keep it nice and rectangular shaped, and you just want to make sure nothing is sticking and causing issues with the rollout. So let's see where we are right here. I'm gonna put it right over it. Can we see that? I feel like, I don't know if the chat box kind of gets in the way, but let me just get closer to that. Okay, so I like to just, with the parchment on, kind of test it out. I need a little bit more length here, but we're looking really good this way. I have put my oven on to 380 to preheat, and I'll bake the Danish at, I haven't baked Danish for like a year in my oven, so I'll probably keep it around 380 and try for about 18 to 20 minutes, but we'll see. That part we'll have to test out. Okay. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you are more interested in numbers, then I do have in my ebook like measurements and such of how big the butter book should be and all that kind of stuff. So here we are, if you can see that. It's going to encapsulate the butter pretty well. Here I have like an extra little spot, so I know that it's fine. I'll just like make it work when I end up putting it together. So I think that's great. I usually just will pull the dough to make it fit. Now, here's our butter book. You see how it can move without breaking? That's where you want it. You want it to be nice and pliable. So what I do is like use it as a transfer sheet. So I'm going to put the butter down on my dough and just kind of rub the parchment off of it, and then voila. So this is just the first stage of putting your butter into your dough. I'm just gonna pull this a little bit, so make sure it's even like a tiny bit over, just so it doesn't start to come out. And just kind of patch it up. And this is our beginning. This is like just folding the butter into our dough. And now we're gonna laminate, okay? So with croissants, what I typically do is 3 single folds, which I'm gonna showcase a single fold right here. With Danish, you don't roll it up like a croissant, so you don't get as much volume. So a lot of people will do a double fold in the mix. So you could do double fold, 2 singles. You just want more layers. So by doing a double fold, which we'll showcase later, that's how you can get more layers with the same amount of lamination. Amy, I'm seeing yours. Let's see. Have you tried any of the supposedly higher fat butters from American brands? I haven't. I'm using Kerrygold because it's at Costco and it's affordable. I've used Plugra, but I haven't tried the higher fat American ones. Do you have a brand, Amy? I haven't even seen them, to be honest. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna be super honest. My butter's still a tiny bit colder than I would love, but hopefully if you don't put too much pressure anywhere specific, like this bar is pretty good with keeping the pressure evenly dispersed. We should be fine with not breaking our butter. But what butter breakage does cause is like it'll start to be like shards of butter in your dough as you get thinner and thinner and the layers get more and more, and they'll break through. It'll make it hard to roll out because your butter will start to smear out, as well as a lot of leakage of butter when you are baking. So that's why we don't want butter to be breaking as we laminate. And I promise you, as soon as it happens to you, you will know what I'm talking about. If you've never made croissants before or any laminated pastry, as soon as you see that or feel that butter break, you'll know. But yeah, if you are intimidated by croissants or any type of laminated pastry, sorry, I've never talked while I'm trying to do it, I would suggest doing puff pastry first. Puff pastry without the yeast in the dough is like 1000% easier. So I'm just going down 1 notch every time, and I'm putting it through twice. Once over, once back. If I was to be rolling out this dough, I do little motions like this, where I press down, pick up, press down, pick up, and I work middle, up, down, and then middle, down. So everything's getting worked nicely. But this is just so much more efficient, especially for our live, that this is what's happening. Now everything's kind of sticking to my board. Just gonna give it a light flour. You can also flour your roller if you have a sheeter. Here you guys go. So I'm doing our first single fold soon. I forgot to put this down. So this is a 5 on my thing, if anyone was curious about the actual measurement. Bring it back further. And again, I'm holding the edge just to feed it through so that it's not going to get stuck. Okay, so this is long enough where I can do my single fold. So this is what I'm talking about when I talk about single fold. It's also called an envelope fold, where you're going to put it into your, you're going to go 2/3 up the way and then fold it to the 2/3 mark, and then bring this one over the other half, the other portion of it. Here we go, like that. So that is, ooh, I'm losing you. That's 1 fold, okay? That's 1 single fold. All right, and now you want to keep track of this seam. So I'm going to start doing the second one because my dough is still cold. My dough is not retracting on me. I feel like it doesn't need rest, which is another great thing the sheeter provides, is less working of our dough. so we can do more at one time instead of having to rest it all the time. So I am going to start rolling out. I've got my seam on the right hand side, and you're just going to keep track of that so you always fold the same way, okay? And boom, bada bing. Just keep going down. And again, you could be doing this with your rolling pin, like this, right? Again, I don't recommend rolling out on this surface, but just keep going and going, and we'll get the length. You can flip it to make sure that the bottom is going as well as the top, right? You don't want to just be working the top up and then realize you have this big lip that it's not even. And that's when a little bit of flour on your surface helps that move with the top. So everything's moving together. All right. This is our second fold. We're going to do one more single fold this time. And then I'll get out my dough that I've already done 2 folds on, and we'll do a third double. All right. Any more questions I need to address as of now? Okay, you did mention some Cabot. That's a type of butter. I forgot to put it down. All right, 5. Again, the recipe for this, I'm just using my croissant recipe, but I'm using a half recipe from the one that is on my YouTube channel. If you have my croissant ebook, which I know many of you guys do that are in the chat, then it's the same recipe as that, because that's a half recipe. See how just simple that is? It just gets it nice and long. We don't have to worry about it retracting on us and resting it as much. Okay. I am at in between the 5 and the 0 mark on my sheeter, and this is long enough for me. I got pretty wide that first time. So the longer you go, right, the wider you're going to end up with your fold, which is something you need to think about on your last fold, which I'll explain in a second. But I have my seam here still, so I'm gonna fold up from that bottom and fold it in thirds. Dust off if you have excess flour, make sure it's nice and clean, and we're gonna get it over. Okay, so this is 2 folds already we've done. There's a little bit of a lip here where, if you can see, some of the dough, sorry, I've got a hair, some of the dough didn't quite move all the way with it. If you wanted to be a perfectionist, sometimes you can, I like to, especially if it isn't going straight, you know, like I can make this straight, but sometimes you get a really curved top after rolling by hand especially. You could cut the roll and then kind of fill in the space here and put it in there, so you have a nice fresh start right here. But this is not too bad. I'm fine with that. But just know, as I roll out this way next time, this is gonna like cause it to come in a little bit, right? And you're gonna have just not the perfect lamination, I guess you could say, because this doesn't have butter where that does, right? So if you're being a perfectionist, you could trim that off, put it in here, shove it in the middle, and it's gonna be better. All right, let me put this. So after first 2 folds, it's nice to kind of shock your dough with a little bit of freezer time, anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes in the freezer to let it rest, to chill, and then back in your fridge to rest for another hour or so, and then you could do the 3rd turn. Okay, So I'm gonna read your guys' in a second. This has 2 folds already, and I'm gonna show you guys the third and final fold. So the double fold, and then hopefully we'll have time to do the final rollout as well, so I can show you just the cutting of Danish and shaping. I froze it last night because I froze this last night so it wouldn't overproof, and then I took it out before I went to sleep, so I froze it most of the day, took it out, so it's still a little cold. I'm gonna let it warm up, so that's a perfect time to showcase these Danish that are ready to be filled and baked off, okay? So we're gonna jump really fast. We did 2 turns on our first batch. Then you would do a third one, and then a final rolling out after you're getting it nice and small with a third turn. And then you shape, right? So we're kind of skipping the middle part really fast, and then we'll go back to it, okay? So you want to proof your Danish till they're doubled in size. I'm gonna grab the things I need. All right, so I shaped these yesterday, egg washed, and then refrigerated overnight to retard the proofing. I made pastry cream and then mixed it with some almond flour to do like a frangipane filling. We'll egg wash again before baking. This is just a yolk and a whole egg and some salt. And then I have some apricot jam. I'll do like 1 with this, and then I have some strawberry jam that I made, and I will do a couple with those. My son doesn't love strawberry. My husband doesn't like apricot, so I don't want to do all one thing. But the first thing that you do once you've proofed them is we're gonna press down and make an indent. So this part, let's see if you can see that. I'm gonna move. So let's get a good view of this. Let's see. You can see this one, right? This lamination here doesn't matter. You're gonna press it down and you lose all that volume. It's sad, but it's okay because it makes more room for your filling. If you're gonna do a fresh Danish and not fill it with anything and then fill it with pastry cream after baking, then still do this. You want to have a space for your filling, okay? So press it down, give that lamination a sad goodbye. Got another fuzz. Okay, you could do this with any tool. You don't need this wooden tool. But yes, so we're just pressing it down and then we're gonna fill. Okay, it's so sad, but it's worth it. And I'm gonna read your guys' comments in a second. So this is just, again, that pastry cream almond flour mixture. And we're gonna fill a nice little dollop to the top. Right? It's gonna be such a great mixture of like flakiness from your Danish and laminated dough to that creamy center. Recently someone sent me, I forget who it was, but they sent me like a creme brulee. I think they called it a babka, but it looked like croissant dough. I don't know why they called it a babka, but either way, if you just did pastry cream and baked it, it could almost be like creme brulee Danish, and then you just put the sugar over and brulee it afterwards. That would be really good too. But yeah, okay. So all of those little holes we made were filled with our frangipane filling. And then here's the thing, if you had a fruit, and in pastry school we put like a half of an apricot on top, and it was really pretty because it had that nice little dome and it looked pretty. I think we did some plums. Like Lisa said, cherry would be so yummy. I love cherries with almond. That was a good call. But I have some apricot preserve. We're gonna do some of that just to add a little bit, right? But again, you could do whatever you want here. My family is not the biggest fan, so we're just gonna do a tiny bit, and then I'll do a couple strawberry, and I'm just gonna leave the almond filling alone too. Okay, let's do that. Okay. So here I have this homemade strawberry. I don't think I did rhubarb, I just wrote strawberry, so I'm pretty sure this was just strawberry. Not my favorite combination, I wouldn't think, but you know what? It might be good, so I'm gonna try it. Why not? I like almonds and strawberries. I just don't like when strawberry jam gets cooked. Like if it gets a burnt flavor, it's I kind of hit the almond cream on this. It ruins the strawberry for me when you bake it. So we'll see. Fresh strawberries I think would be better. We're just gonna do 2 because I don't want to ruin them. And these ones will just be almond. There's nothing wrong with just almond. And I do have I have another tray of Danish that need to be baked after this. And maybe we'll leave a few empty, and I have regular pastry cream left too. We can do a fresh Danish. But of course there's no fresh fruit, so it'll just be custardy. But yeah, so you can fill yours with whatever you want. The main point, proof them and then fill them. And now we're gonna bake. 380. We'll see in about 15 minutes. I'll flip the tray and see how much longer it needs. But then we'll get to our middle portion. This feels nice and ready to be rolled out for our 3rd turn. And I'll check your guys' comments. Oh, hold up. Don't forget, we gotta egg wash these bad boys. Egg wash helps a few things. When you're egg washing your products, it's going to help coloration, nice and brown, golden brown. It's also going to help make your dough able to have a nice oven spring, right? Because I got strawberry jam on it. Don't worry about me, I'm okay. Okay, it helps with color. Egg wash helps with coloration and rising your oven spring, your dough rising. But with egg wash, you also have to be careful because the coloration, sometimes you don't want coloration. On these tips especially, you don't want to egg wash and have them burn before that middle of your Danish burns, right, with this specific shape. So I just egg washed around the top. Okay, and then also when you egg wash too much, you get like a scrambled egg on top. So don't have it be pooling on your product, just lightly. And it will also close up your lamination if you do it too much. As it like drips down onto the sides, it can close up your lamination and make it so it doesn't show off those beautiful layers as much. So just be careful to do it lightly and do it with purpose where you're going to do it. All right. Here we go. Now we're talking. I'm going to put these in the oven. All right. So I have one more batch. And while those bake, I'm gonna leave them. I'm not gonna fill them yet. I'm gonna keep letting them proof as those bake. Okay, let me see if you guys have asked any questions before we move on to the what it would look like to do our third turn. All right. How does, okay, yes, cold butter. Hi, Nicole. For someone who has never worked with lemon, do you suggest starting with a rough puff or full? Mary, I just read yours. The rough puff is, do you mean like not actually doing a real lamination? Because I always feel, is that what you mean by rough puff or full? I think definitely doing just without having a yeasted product and doing a puff pastry is easier and could help you get the feel of laminating. But doing what I've heard of with a rough puff, yeah, graded. Okay, I would say if you want to practice lamination, to do the full thing, because with the rough one, it's a whole different feel. You're not really trying to roll out with the butter like you are in this case. So for practice sake, I'd say a full. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back up because I've missed a lot. Nicole, have you tried any supposedly higher fats? That's what we stopped on. I saw Land O'Lakes. Oh yeah, I haven't seen any of these. Okay, that's good to know. I haven't tried them, Amy. Didn't I blame it? Erin McDowell is freaking amazing. So if she trusts it, I would say I would trust it too. I mean, are most of her things that she uses them for pie, or is she doing laminated doughs with that? We love. Okay, the Dell for the sheeter can get it down. I didn't put it all the way down, but it can get it down to like 1/8 of an inch. Dun, 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 dun. Sorry guys, I'm just catching up. I can get, oh perfect, Amy. I love you guys answering everyone's questions. Yes, if you're using more of like a cookie, if you're using cookie or pie dough or anything like that to get it really small on the sheeter, then using parchment or wax paper in between is really nice so it doesn't stick. I will reuse my plastic wrap on this. Make sure you always go back up and give this a nice space if you have a sheeter before trying to roll it through. Don't start low with your new dough. I'm gonna just try to warm this up a little bit. Well, Amy, I'm gonna have to look into the American butters because I didn't even know. I just look at my one Costco type of butter and that's it. You know, I don't even look at regular butter at the grocery store. So I'm just sort of trying to warm up this dough because it was frozen at one point. When you are doing laminated dough in general, one of your main tasks is to keep your dough cold because if the yeast gets too active when it's warmer, it's going to start getting bubbles and then it's going to start fermenting, right? And when you're rolling out, those bubbles pop and it just makes it even harder. And that's why puff pastry is really nice because you don't have to worry about that, the temperature, or you do have to worry about the temperature, but not so much the time. So that it takes away one element where you don't have to worry as much, which is really nice when you're getting used to it. But also, if you just go straight into the yeasted lamination, then you're used to it, right? And you don't know any better. So it really depends on your mindset of what you prefer. Okay, this feels good. Good afternoon, CJ. I think, Lisa, all of the cranberries just homemade refresher. Okay, I haven't tried, lychee or lychee. I say it lychee, but then I've been told it's lychee, so I don't know. That would be good. Let's see. Do you egg wash before and after proofing? Melanie, yes. So I egg wash before, right after shaping, and then right before baking. All right. The proofing before, the egg wash before proofing helps the moisture, right, and helps it rise as well when you're proofing. For my case, I egg wash and put it directly in the fridge or freezer, depending on how long it is until I can bake them. That's just gonna help protect, so it takes even a different level of usage when you're egg washing. The egg wash sort of protects the skin of your dough. So even if you're not baking right away, I egg wash after shaping. Okay, here we've done 2 folds, right? Look at us getting right along. It's something that's usually a 3-day process. We're on that last step. So I'm going down notches. 15. Down, down, down. Just always make sure if you do have a sheeter that you're going down the same, they're on the same, right? Or else your pin will be crooked, and that negates what a sheeter does, which is have it nice and flat, right? And even lamination. All right. We're getting long. So when we're doing this double fold, right, this is what we haven't shown you yet, we want it to be a little bit longer than a single fold, so that when we fold it up, it's going to be like more and more layers, and then it would just be really thin at the end, and really fat to start out with to do a final rollout. So we want it a little bit longer when you're doing a double fold. I'm working this. We're going to go in between that 5 and that 0 one more time, and then I'll showcase that double fold. So I didn't start it back far enough. So make sure it all gets nice and rolled out. Okay. Oh, it's stuck. My camera's in the way, so I couldn't get my board out. Okay, here we go. Let's pull it back a little bit so we're evened up. Okay, here we are. My seam is on the right still, like this is my right, I'm saying. And we're gonna do that double fold here. So I'm gonna, because this is rounded a little bit, see, I'll showcase what it looks like to cut some off and kind of fill that up. So this is the rounded side, but I'm going to be folding this in, so I'm going to leave that. But I will kind of get the other side of this board. I'm not pushing down too hard on this white side. The other side of this board is blue, and it's a perfect cutting board, but I'm not going to just flip that over right now. So I'm just cutting very carefully. So now we've got this nice flat edge. If you can see, I don't know if you're going to be able to, but there's this beautiful lamination. I don't think the camera's going to focus on it. But there are lots and lots of beautiful layers, and that was only 2 single folds. So for our double fold, we're just going to fold it in a little bit, like a quarter of our dough. And then I'm going to put this Maybe it'll, it's still not focusing, is it? I'm gonna just kind of fill in the blanks here. So instead of having it nice and straight, it's not. So I'm gonna make sure it gets straight across, right? So now that's gonna be a straight point. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. You don't have to do that. It's just to showcase. You can kind of do whatever you want, right? Don't be scared. Now I'm gonna bring this end right to the edge of this tip. Okay, and then we're gonna fold it one more time. Okay, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 layers that we've just made instead of the 3 from a single fold. So this is the double fold, right? And just going to even it out. And what I was talking about earlier, which is kind of confusing sometimes, is that overall length that you roll it out before you fold is going to depict your final rollout width. Because if you fold it out really far and then you fold in, you're gonna have a nice width to your thing. If you only do it a little bit, and then you fold it. If you only roll it shorter and then you fold it, it's gonna be thicker and it's gonna be tighter at the end. No matter what, you can roll it this way and this way at the end to make sure it's what you need for your template, but just think about that so you're kind of ahead of the game when you're doing that last fold. You don't want to set yourself up for like having a lot of rolling out for that last final rollout if you can kind of get yourself set up like this, right? So that was our third turn, and all we have to do is do a final rollout and cut our Danish. So my dough is getting a little warm. I even have, look, I have some fermentation happening, which is what I was just saying you don't want. You want to avoid. It happens all the time. So don't fret if you're like, oh crap, I have a bubble, I've ruined it. No, that's fine. You could try popping it with a little toothpick so it doesn't tear. You kind of control it and make sure it's gone. So you can always pop it. But yeah, it happens a lot. It's just a sign that you need to get it in the fridge to stop the retardation. Especially because I had it overnight. I expected it to have some bubbles, and that's okay. Okay, so my template is a 4-inch square for my Danish. So I want this to be 8 inches at least, plus a little bit more because I'll trim off the edges. So I want it to be 8 inches in width so I can fit 2 squares, and then however long it gets to where I need, like I'm not too worried about the length. I just want to make sure I can fit my squares this way. It's more about the width, the thickness at the end that will determine the length. Let's check out our Danish. I only did 13 minutes, sorry. And then I'll flip real fast. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-ish. We'll do 7 more minutes and see how it is. Can you guys see them? My oven is higher than 400 right now, and I did see some good amount of browning. So I'm gonna take it upon myself to just put it down to 370 and then have it go for those 6 more minutes and see where we're at. Again, you're not doing the shaping like a croissant, so it doesn't need as much timing as that. But yeah, we'll try for 20 minutes. Hopefully it's not too long. This is, like I said, getting Sorry, I had someone calling me. Hopefully it didn't go anywhere. Okay, I'm just gonna try to get ahead of the game a little bit and roll it out a couple more times. And then I'm gonna do it this way too because I need it 8 inches, remember? I'll let it rest in the fridge just to cool down. It's not retracting on me, so in that respect, I could keep going. But what it is doing is getting too soft. And you can see maybe the bubbles forming, like that, bubbles. And getting a little bit too warm. So here's my little template. And this is definitely not wide enough, right? So let's work it this way a little bit more. Let's see if I have a little bit more time. The house is also getting warmer because I have my oven on. Okay. Okay, I can feel when I'm, like, the grease coming off my fingers a little bit when I'm manhandling that, so I don't know why I say manhandle. Like, that's a weird term. Anyways. Okay, so I'm gonna let it rest. We're gonna pop it in the freezer for time's sake and give it about 15 minutes for it to relax. And I'll also move the one batch that we did in the very beginning with the first 2 folds. I'm gonna put that from the freezer to the fridge and just put this one into the freezer. Okay, so we have, I'm gonna read your guys' stuff now. We have a second. Danish are baking. Dough needs to chill. Hi, Nick. I know, it's been forever since I've been in a live, so I am so excited to see your name pop up. All right. I love your guys' chats. Ugh, I've missed it. Aaron and both. Okay, great job. Have there been any questions? What are you making? We're making Danish. Sorry that I just saw that. Address, but I didn't hear, if you don't have a sheeter, can this be a one-day process? Carrie, great question. Without the sheeter, you could do the lamination in one day for sure. I recommend still making the dough the night before. So I made dough the night before, let it chill for a long time. And yes, you could definitely do all the laminating in one day. And then proof and bake. But unless you start really early in the morning, by the time you're ready to proof and bake, it's not like breakfast pastry time. So that's when I usually shape my product and then put it in the fridge or freezer depending on how long I am going to be leaving it until I bake it. So if it's one night, I put my product in the refrigerator overnight to retard the fermentation and then bake in the morning when we want our pastries. Or you could put it in the freezer for up to 3 days and your product will be good. The yeast doesn't die off too much. Like you might see a tiny bit less volume after 3 days, but it's really not worth it for the convenience sake of having croissants on hand. So you could go up to 3 days in the freezer and then proof from frozen and then bake at your convenience. So either way, I have done all this without the sheeter for sure. And it works great. It's just that the sheeter cuts your time down with the actual folding, right? Okay. The active time that you are working on your dough is cut down, is what I'm trying to say. All right. Yes, Amy, magic. Hi, Ed. Happy Friday, everyone. Okay, I think Nicole, question about the egg wash. Have you ever tried cream instead? Amy, I have not, but I know tons of people, like especially with pie doughs, that use cream on top of their products, and it produces this beautiful, golden brown finish. So that I feel like that would be fine as well. I'm just used to the egg wash. But that's a great question. I wonder what it would change, if anything. Lisa said she uses cream from time to time. I love it. Oh, yeah, Amy, for sure. For the egg allergy, yeah. For my vegan croissant, I egg wash with oat milk and agave syrup, a little bit of agave syrup. But yeah, you could definitely do cream. I want to know more about the difference, like I'd be curious to know why some people do one thing and the other, we all do different things. Okay, let's check out this. I can smell it. Hopefully they're not burnt. All right, these look really good. I'm gonna get my oven mitts, which I did not keep right here. Sorry, you guys are crooked. My phone is like not staying. It's kind of falling. Okay. Here's these Danish. Ugh, guys. My kids are gonna be so happy when they come home. So with this almond creamish kind of stuff, the pastry cream was already cooked and there weren't extra eggs, so you don't need to brown that much. You don't have to worry about cooking this filling. It was already cooked. And then obviously the jams are just for melding in, and there's nothing that needs to be cooked for those. So this looks great. You wanna make sure that the bottoms look not soggy, right? So these are nice. I'm gonna let these rest, and then we can put that second batch in for these Danish. Again, I started at 380 Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. I might, depending on, as I look at them more, they look burnt on the camera, but they are not. But I might bake like 1 minute less just for the sake of my children who don't like that French golden brown as much. Ooh, I'm burning my hands, but I can't wait to eat these. Let me get a cooling rack, and then we can fill these ones while we wait for our final rollout for that other dough that's chilling in our freezer. Okay. My oven still says it's at 400 degrees, so I might even bring it down again. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna wash my hands real fast. But yeah, just always check your ovens. I don't know anyone who has said their oven is so reliable that they don't have to check it. So if you do, let me know what brand it is, because that would be so nice not to babysit. This is great because these will probably cool by the time we're done. And then we can kind of see how we did with the bake, see if they have those soggy bottoms or if they're good and nice and crispy. All right, this is for the other ones that we'll do, and let's fill these bad boys. Maybe I'll do one pastry cream one and bake it and see. Usually pastry cream is reserved for those fresh Danish, but if it's like a creme brulee, maybe it'll be worth it. All right. Here we go. I'm just gonna press them down in the middle. From the fridge, these proofed. Oh, these ones are a little wet still. for about 2.5 to 3 hours. These ones aren't pressing down as nicely. The other one's dried. I don't know why these are more wet, but this is gonna ruin that lamination, remember? Right in the center, but that's okay because then it's more room for our filling. Okay. I'll leave 2 empty so we can fill with fresh pastry cream after bake. I'll fill maybe 2 with pastry cream because like egg tarts are my kids' like favorite. So if they are anything like an egg tart, I think that'll be a winner. So we're gonna bake some pastry cream in, and then I'll do the frangipan. You know what? I had a whole thing of frangipan for the last one, so maybe I'll do. Let's see how much fresh pastry cream we got. I feel like we might as well, you know, try more things since I have a whole tray of already having the almond stuff. So pastry cream made yesterday. Always re-whip pastry cream when you're about to use it. It can like, the way it coagulates or whatever makes it look not so creamy, but then once you re-whip it up, it's so nice. All right. Usually, if I was doing something for production's sake, this would be a piping bag, but I'm gonna just fill. Guys, I'm like salivating. I love pastry cream so much. I don't know if you guys have had like custard buns or anything from your local Chinese bakeries, but those and egg tarts are probably my son's favorite pastries besides almond croissants. So I think he'll love this. When you bake pastry cream, usually you don't want it exposed like this. Like in bakeries, they would spread it and like roll it up for their cinnamon roll. So it was like custardy cinnamon roll. So we'll see, this might ruin it. That's why usually pastry cream is either mixed with that almond flour or it is reserved for fresh, right? So we're gonna try with 3 and then we will bake a couple with none. Let's do 3 with none. So it's fresh and then yeah, let's do that. We'll do some fresh ones and then some baked pastry cream, just to see. Amy, me neither. I love diplomat cream too, Lisa. Oh my gosh. So stinking delicious. So the egg wash gives a more burnish and shine where the cream is more matte. Perfect, Lisa, thank you. Okay. Oh, I have missed being here. You guys, this is so fun. This was a lot of work to put together, but you guys know laminated dough is my favorite. So, and everyone has been asking for more information on the sheeter, so this is a good portrayal of how it works. I know Amy has the smaller model. If anyone has specific questions on like models, Amy, if you didn't mind, this is that 15-inch one, and she has that 12-inch model. So we've kind of discussed it before, her and I, and they're both really helpful. So can't go wrong, I think. It really depends on how much product you're wanting to push through these machines. Okay, egg washing. And again, we're just going to leave these ones blank to have a fresh Danish, right? If it was summertime, I'd fill it with fresh berries. Maybe you live in California or someplace with fresh fruit. Up here, we do not have fresh things. So it will just be pastry cream probably, but maybe we'll try to torch one of these and try to make a creme brulee Danish just for kicks. All right, I'm gonna put this in the oven and we're gonna start with that final rollout that we did that I put in the freezer, and we'll see how to shape them like this. It's really simple. It's just it takes a few times to get the trick down, and then it's all set. Excuse me, hiccuping. Would you share the recipe for your pastry cream? Great question. I think, Annette, I think I have it in, I'll have to double check. I think it's in a video that I have for the almond, like the coconut almond cream croissants that I have. So I'll have to double check and I can like link it in this video. And now also, like, I wouldn't normally do different things on the same tray because those uncovered or like those empty Danish are gonna cook a lot faster than one with a wet filling. So I don't recommend doing that, but this is just for fun. All right, let me clean this up real fast and then we will get on our way with that last rollout. Okie doke. Let me get a paper towel. The aluminum of my sheet pan kind of came off. Trying to work in a nice little space so I don't have to keep moving that camera around too much. All right, guys, how are we doing? Started 1 hour ago and we are almost through. Like, I feel like that's impressive for laminated dough. Okay, here we go. This was our one that we just showcased, that double fold, to get more out of our lamination, because again, unlike croissants where you roll it up so there's more layers, this we're just leaving flat, right? And we're adding that little bit of a diamond diamond shape, so it does build a little bit like a puff pastry shell or something would, but we're not folding it like croissants. Okay, so how are we doing on this size? One, not quite big enough lengthwise. So I'm gonna do a couple more times this way, and then it will kind of widen out a little bit as we work on that length as well. Okay. Oh. 15. 10 and 10. Yes, Lisa, make it. Make that dough. Would I love the need it now? Oh, that's really good to know, Lisa, because there's a big price change. She was talking about the difference between the 12-inch and the 15-inch. And there's a big jump. So if it suffices, you know, like, awesome. I think that is great to know. I don't have experience with the with the 12-inch model, so I hate that I can't say more specifically. Okay, this is nice. It'll get a little bit bigger too, and that's, oh, perfect. Okay, gives me room. So now I'm going back to the length, and we're just gonna go till it's like 1/8 of an inch thick. So I'm gonna go all the way to 0 probably. And this is when you really wanna make sure that dough is cold and it's not sticking to anything, okay? All right. Also, I've kind of worked my sheeter off of my table, so I always make sure it has a nice strong base. Okay, let's go down another one. And here we go. This is gonna be the 0. Oops, I'm pushing it. Usually I only do that once. Let me get my ruler and see for you, Del, how thin it is. That's 0. The thinnest, it is 1 centimeter. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait. Sorry, it is not 1 centimeter. It's way thinner than that. It is 4 millimeters. It's thin. It's just under. It's like 3 tally marks up the inch one. 1, 2, 3. So that's not quite 1/8 of an inch, but yeah, it's nice and thin. It is way better than when I do it by hand. So here we go. This is our rollout. Okay, and now I'm gonna move this board, flip it around so we can do our shaping. My dough is still pretty cold, which is nice, but at some point, especially when we're shaping the Danish and cutting the Danish, we want it really cold, so it's gonna have to go back in the fridge. But I'm gonna just fold the dough real fast so I can flip. I'm gonna have to move my camera. Flip it and reverse it. Oh, Missy Elliott. Okay. So once you have your workspace all set up, I feel like it retracted a little bit, so I'm just gonna roll it out again. For this particular shape, which are squares, I am just going to put my dough in half, cut down the middle, and then make my squares at that point. Okay, always trim so your lamination is exposed. You can make monkey bread with your trimmings. You can do a lot of different things. This is like a 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. I'm not trimming off that much, just exposing our layers. I wish you could see it. Nope, I still don't think you can. I'm trying. Okay. So just fold it in half like this, crease it, bring it back, and cut down that middle. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a little bit more here, so I'm just gonna see where maybe the lamination isn't as good. Cut a little bit more off before I make any big moves. Just trim a tiny bit more than I had previously. Okay. Then we'll make this work. Oops. It is really nice to have a nice square, because when you see when we make the little triangles to cut for the diamonds, the square is nice to have that shape. We still have leftovers. Sorry, scraps. More for you. Okay. So I'm gonna put these little squares. I mean, you could even proof them like this and then make your own indentation here after proofed and fill and have it just be a square Danish too. Like, you could be done at this point and have them proof. The whole triangle thing is just a little bit extra of build up on the sides for your filling, that they don't, like, you know, come out. You could even fold these up, you know, and like fill them with something and then bake them in a different way. You know, you could do so many different things with the laminated dough, but for now I'm going to showcase how I did those ones that I've already showed. And I'm just going to freeze these again before I try to shape that and show you. You don't want to expose your Danish or any of the dough. You don't want to just put it in without covering it, because it'll dry out. So I'm going to put this in the freezer just to get them nice and cold before shaping. Okay, and we can probably check out how our cooked Danish turned out. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I couldn't decide which one. I'm gonna try one of the strawberry ones because I questioned that one. So let's cut into this one. Obviously, what would make it even more pretty is putting a little little 10x, what is it? Powdered sugar. Let's do it for the whole sake, right? Let's do a powdered sugar dusting. Can't find my little guy. Okay. Here we go. So I make a mess out of our place. Okay, this isn't a real sieve, but I'll do a little dusting. A dollop of daisy. Do a dollop. I mean, now it's beautiful, right? Let's see. Crisp all the way through, which is beautiful. And then, of course, like we said, that lamination gets ruined in the middle, which is fine. But it's flaky all the way up. No, some people don't like listening to people eat, so cover your ears if. The strawberry jam didn't get burned. It tastes really good. Do I prefer the strawberry? No. But it's so good. It's really tasty, but strawberry is a little different from what I'm used to. So, but ooh, it is so good. Nice and baked through, so that 20 minutes was good. Yeah. My kids are gonna be in heaven. to share those with you. It's always nice to do a little sifting of powdered sugar over them. Make them look real pretty. All right, our Danish in the freezer might be good to go. And we'll use this to put our shaped ones on. And then, what do you guys think? Do you like this shape, or do you think it's a weird shape? I love the extra crust and then that filling in the center. I'm a fan. Let me go get that. And then we'll do the final shaping. Thanks, Lisa. I need to bake more. How is last Friday? Hi, Seth. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to the comments. I can't stand that. Okay. The last frontier is great, Seth. Sorry. I still had food in my teeth anyways. The pastry cream isn't browning as of yet, so it actually looks pretty good. We'll have to see if it gets more eggy tasting and like overcooked custard. You know how that can taste after the bake. But I'm gonna go grab those Danish so we can see that final shaping, and then we'll have gone through all the steps. Okay. Here we are. So, you want them really cold because it's kind of difficult to get through all the layers. So once you have your square, you're gonna fold it into a triangle like this. And then we're gonna cut from here down and then from this tip down to make our own little triangle. Not all the way through though. You wanna leave that so you don't have like pieces that are coming off, right? You're just gonna make slits, and you don't want this too thin or else it will burn when it's on top. And you don't want it too thick, then you don't have much in the middle. So fold your thing. Let's get you nice and close. I like to use a super sharp paring knife or like a scalpel. Scalpel, like a blade. And then trying to get you guys really close, sorry. Let's see. I don't think that helped, to be honest. But, so we're gonna cut about, I think it's even almost a half of an inch thick. And go down to almost the crease, and then go from the tip again. And this, like I said, helps immensely if your dough is super cold. Then open it back up and see how it's not coming off all the way. You don't want to just tear it apart. Kind of wrecks with the lamination. So if you did not go all the way through, just kind of try to fix it before pulling. And then just make sure okay, you get all that. Okay, now we're going to lift. You're gonna lift these triangles up that you just made, right? So you undid it. You're gonna put one to this side and then one to this side. I'm trying to to showcase. And that's how you get this shape, right? So let's see. This I got a little thinner. But this is when it's a little bit of a rectangle, it makes it a little bit more difficult to get the final shape. All right, whoops. So that's one. You do that for all of them. These are my scraps. You just make your triangle and then cut down. Cut down. Test it out. Oh, see, it still doesn't go all the way through. Make sure it goes all the way through, but don't have this go all the way through, because then they'll be completely separate. You want it to still be connected, right? So you get that nice little diamond shape. I'm coming, oven. So then you pull it over. Oh, this one's still connected. Pull it over. Like that. Okay, I'm gonna go get that oven real fast. And really quickly, just so you see, these are the pastry cream filled and these are the empty. See how they still kind of rose up? Right after they come out of the oven, get your tool again and you can press them so you have space for your filling. When it's still warm, press them back down, okay? All right, let me go put these over here to cool off. Okay. Guys, we're moving along. All right, so we've got basically every step shown. I want to have some. Seth, oh, I didn't see where you are. So I'm gonna flip this one more time. Trying to tighten it. Okay, let's see here. And then my kids will be very happy when they come home. They've been excited. Okay, these are getting warm again. So just work in and out of the freezer. Make sure that they're nice and cold. The colder they are, the nicer the lamination will be. And the easier it is to cut them as well when you are doing it. So, but yeah, you just basically triangle, make your little triangle down the sides, about a half of an inch in. Carefully open and then reevaluate if you've pulled it all the way apart. And if you have a little bit sticking still, go through it one more time. And fold them over to the opposite sides. And then they're ready to be proofed and baked. Egg wash first, proof and egg wash again, and bake. Okay, let's see here. Isn't it the perfect time of year? It's nice and cold. Oh gosh. Okay, I'm gonna stop this and put them back in the freezer after this one and just check to see if you guys have any questions before we part ways. They're getting, the softer it gets, then they start sticking and you have to be super careful with your lamination. But one over there, this one needs to be cut a little bit more. All right. I want to read the comments and I feel like I miss out on the catch-up time when I'm talking. Okay. and that one. So this is where you would egg wash and proof, or egg wash, refrigerate, egg wash and freeze. And then when you're ready to bake, you proof them. You don't have to egg wash again because you already did right before putting them away. Proof, and then fill if you wanted a baked Danish. And then egg wash again and bake like we did earlier. Okay, I'm gonna put these back in the freezer. I'm not gonna showcase all of them just for your guys' time's sake, but I will read up on the comments real fast just to make sure I didn't miss a question. Be right back. Oh, you know what we should do? We should brulee a top, one of the tops. Let's see if we can do it with just like my hand torch. Might not be strong enough, but we'll try. Why do I have ice? Here, okay. Let me get my hand torch, and I'm so mad at this because it's not staying up. Hand torch and some sugar, and we'll try doing the pastry cream. Okay, guys, I don't know if this has enough butane in it. I broke it the other day, but it still works. But like, I think it leaks the butane constantly. Is that bad? Let me fill it. Oh, I didn't even think about this part. Sorry, guys, I'm not prepared. I want to see if it works. Okay. Sugar. Sugar, sugar, dun 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 dun. I'm gonna wait, you guys are so far away. Sorry. Sorry about the table. I've got too many things going on. Okay. Is that our Danish with the pastry cream that was baked in? Then we'll put some sugar on top. And then, let me fill this bad boy with some butane. Okay, let's see if it works. There we go. Got some flame. Let's see if I can control it. Might need more sugar. I've never done this. Besides, like, I don't know if we even made pastry cream. I mean, cause I think we did do a creme brulee in pastry school. I don't want to burn it. You don't want it to be bitter. Well, there we go. We'll see. We'll see as it cools. We'll see if it tastes like a custard. It kind of smells burnt on the edges of my dough. Sorry guys, this is total me first time trying it out. But you see how it is, it has to cool. I'm gonna burn myself. Let me really quickly catch up on the chat. And then we'll see if when it cools, it gets nice and crispy, like a nice crisp to cut through. Okay, you guys are getting, they should send you one to try and demo. Yeah, let's have Brad and Taylor send me one. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading. Any questions that I missed? Besides Seth, I said the last frontier is good. We haven't had a ton of snow. It sounds like everyone else is getting way more snow. Even like parts of Texas that don't usually get it had snow, and we are struggling. It's been rainy here. Like if you saw out on the deck, look at that. That's like all we have. The last 2 winters up here, we haven't even seen the ground for the whole winter. Like it was so much snow. We broke records, and this year is the opposite. No snow. 6 to 9 inches in Oklahoma. Wow. Now I need a cappuccino. All right. It doesn't seem like I missed anything. We haven't had any. Lisa, you haven't had any snow over there? I thought it like hit the Midwest and then traveled over to the east, but I guess not. I remember seeing Buffalo like have so much snow. I'm surprised that you didn't get any in Massachusetts. All right. It sounds like everyone's kind of, we're good. I have a big boy torch. Lisa, I think I might need a big boy torch. Seth and Lisa, thank you. Now I know that's my next thing on my list is getting a big boy torch. Which smartwatch do you use? Carrie, I have a Garmin watch. I got it for my birthday this last year. My husband got it for me. And I never thought I would need it. Like I love it though. You know, it will update me when things happen on my phone, but like it's not like an Apple Watch obviously where I can do like pictures on it or like sync things, but for like running's sake, it's so nice to be able to know what pace I'm going at and like calculate those types of things. I'm in love. Things I never thought I needed until you have it and you're like, oh, this is grand. Yes, so the Garmin. I don't know what model this is. He got it for me, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Some people I feel like who have had Apple Watches might be disappointed with a Garmin not being able to like do more things phone-wise, but I don't need it to. It updates me whenever I have a notification. So that's all I need, but I need to get to my phone to actually do things. I can take a call if my phone is close to me. I can take a call on my watch, that kind of thing, but I can't text from it or anything like that that I'm aware of. I'm also not very, you know, technologically advanced, so maybe there's a way and I didn't know as well. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought of using it as a timer. See, all these things, like things that make your life easier, but you just never knew could do such a thing. Yeah, but it is so nice to be able to like track your sleep too. Again, things you never thought you would need to do. It feels, you know, in control even more. Okay, anyways, anyone have questions about these things? Now I know I need a big boy torch. It is cooling. I burnt like the edge of my my pastry. So I don't know if it's gonna even taste good. I'm one of those people that like the bruleed macarons. They look so good, but I feel like the shelf life would be so quick that I would never want to do that. Maybe they do it to order at places that they sell them, but I feel like it would ruin it. So now I need to try on a macaron because I always have these ideas and I scoff at them, you know, when I see them on social media, and then I try them. I'm like, oh, actually, it is good. So boo-hoo on me judging. Like, that's not. It goes to show you shouldn't judge until you try it, right? But yeah, so that's why we're trying this. Oh, it's hard. Let's crunch into it. I made quite the mess, you guys. Listen. Yeah? Let me go get my little serrated knife. Okay, here we go. They have a shelf life of an hour. I'm not kidding. Oh my gosh. What if you added the jam in halfway through? I think you could definitely add the jam in later, or even, I mean, because it's already, you could even do it at the end. I just like how it melds in. So yeah, you could do it towards the end of baking. Okay. Guys, I've always wanted to do that. Nice and hard. Okay. Sorry. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna try it just to see if it tastes burnt. Don't knock it until you try it. The fun crisp of the outside shell, I think these would last a little bit longer than like the macarons that are bruleed on top, you know? Because you're actually bruleeing over the custard. Guys, I really like it. I don't want to keep biting on camera because I know it really bothers people. Sorry, the lighting is really bad. Everything's hazy. This camera is old too. But, sorry. That's yummy. And that could definitely be done. You could bake your pastry cream in your Danish. Brulee the top. Yum. Yes, please. I will be doing that with the other two that I have baked the custard in. Because it gives it a really nice texture. Even though this is nice and flaky already, it's just like, it's not even the flakiness. It's like that crunch that adds even more fun texture. Okay. Let's see. Lisa, you got to try it. Seriously. And again, if you guys don't want to deal with the shaping of the Danish, just leave them as a square. Simple as that. Proof. Push down in the center so it gives a little well. And you could do them like that. There's lots of different ways. I'm sure you've seen the circular Danishes too. So you could use like a circular cutter for Danish. Yeah, I mean, possibilities are endless with the shaping product, with the shaping aspect. There we go. Okay, I have a link to the sheeter. Yes, Del. I will put it in the description. Oh, let me just, you know what? Let me see if I can get it. What if you, yeah, would the lamination be less affected? So with the fillings, Seth, I feel like if you wanted more volume of the lamb and not have the lamination ruined in the center, you could just not press down, but then your filling might come over the sides a little bit. But if that's something that you don't like about Danish, is that you press down the center and it does ruin the lamination in the middle, you could just try that. Not pressing in. We don't get much snow here in Florida. I bet, Annette. just tuned in. Will this be available? Yes, Angie, this will be available. You can watch it back. There will be commercials, I think, which are annoying, but yes, this is available. It will be up on my channel. I brulee the top of my banana bread. Seth, that sounds delicious. Okay, that's good to know too. Shelf life has to, so that's what I haven't tested out with this. Like, we did it right away, right? So maybe you would brulee the Danish for your consumption right before you want to eat it. Okay, let me get that link, and then I think we're good. Here we go. What's it called? Shopify. Really? No. Sorry. Trying to get the link so I can put it right into the text, the chat, I mean. And then we'll be all set. Okay. Sometimes I use my phone, so I hate how my iPad isn't primed for these things and I have to re-sign in. Okay, let me see. Saved collaborations. I'm gonna put in the link the 15.5 model, but with that link it should transfer over if you're, because there's like a spot where you can click if you want the 12-inch or the 15-inch in that same page. So this does save $60 for that one, the 10%. Okay. Oh, trying to find the live chat again. Where are you? Okay, here we go. So that is the link for the sheeter with the discount code. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in from. Oh, Angie, I used to live in Pasadena. I am so sorry you're dealing with that. I can't believe the destruction of, like, it was the perfect storm with those winds. Yeah. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you can watch it back and kind of distract yourself even more. Yeah, I'm truly sorry about all of the loss of the community. There have been some terrible things happening, but I'm really just pleased. Like, all the GoFundMes that I've seen from personal friends have just been filling up, and people have been so generous, and I'm really grateful for that. But it doesn't help the loss, right? It's just nice to know that there are lots of good people out there too that want to help during this process. But holy smokes. Oh, you're so sweet. For real. Now the Altadena Farmers Market is gone. Makes me want to cry. Oh, I hope you're safe, Angie, and that your house and living space was spared. Yeah, it's terrible. So devastating. I know way too many people that have had lost everything. So again, if anyone was thinking they wanted to help in those fires, obviously this wasn't mandated to pay anything, but if your heart is heavy for these folk, there are personal GoFundMes that I know, or a personal friend knows, that you can. Your Highland Park, okay. But oh, for sure, Angie. I mean, nowhere is not feeling this effect, right? Down there. But yeah, there's GoFundMe pages, or there's organizations, you know, all those things that you could, instead of like putting it towards the channel to pay for the animals or whatever might be affected from all these crazy things, the fires. All right. Well, I'm glad you're safe, Angie, and I am so grateful that you guys who came could tune in. It was awesome to be able to chat again and make some danishes. And I feel pretty productive that we did it all in, I mean, now it's almost been 2 hours, but still, right? Yeah. Wildlife indeed. The wildlife, it's like, there's so many, ugh, I don't even want to think about it. Just too many people displaced and too much sadness about, like, even pets, you know, like, ugh. So, yeah, grateful for a space to bake today, and it just makes you really, really grateful for the things we do have, right? But yeah, we can also be mourning, like, we don't need to be grateful right now. We're all indifferent. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna just keep rambling and make it more awkward, so I'm gonna say goodbye, and thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, many prayers out to everybody, and just hope you guys are happy and healthy and doing well in 2025. Hopefully we'll do more of these live bakes, because I miss you guys, and we'll start doing more newsletter again and all that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. Goodbye for now. Don't be a stranger. I won't. Yes. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I don't know where to stop it. It's over here. It's been so long. Okay. Have a wonderful rest of you guys' day, okay? Or a great weekend. I don't usually do these on Friday. Okay, bye.